Okay, so this is the next section that we're working on right here. We're about to do the pleats in the front bodice pieces. And so this is what the piece looks like before that you should have in front of you now. And then this is what the other piece looks like after it's been pleated. And it's just pinned, it's not sewn, so I'm going to show you how to go about getting your pleats to look all pretty. Now, by the nature of how pleats are accomplished, depending on the angle of the edges that make the pleats, or the edges where the pleat comes from, it's going to determine the angle of the pleat. So, or the way the pleat points. So basically, you should have snips, if you followed along with me, where we need to be joining the pleats. So you should have 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now there's 2 different ways you can go about putting these pleats together. The way that I do is wherever that pleat is, I just kind of make a line from that. And I take it, put my middle finger underneath it like this, right where I want the pleat, and push my other 2 fingers down next to it and kind of hold it and almost start to make an angle out of it. Okay, to where it's creased. And then you should have a flat edge from both sides joining together. So it shouldn't be something like this, right? Both of the edges should be joining together. So you have this point here where the first one is, and then we're going to make that join and touch right here. And we're going to make it all flat across. So you have that, and you're going to join it there. And then you press it down just a little bit. And then you take your pin and you put it in so that it stays. Okay. And then you're also going to take the other side, or the next one, and do the same thing. Make kind of like a little mountain fold type shape. And then you're going to join it with the other one. Okay? Now that's one way you can do it, by concentrating on the mountain folds. Now another way you could do it, it's basically to just focus on the little angles here. So if you think of this one and this one as needing to touch, and then this being the angle in between, then you can fold this like that, almost like you're making a dart. And you can make these 2 little angles meet, or these 2 notches, and then you can just fold it the way it needs to fold. So you can put it underneath. Sorry about that, I just totally flipped that over. Okay, so these are still joining here. This edge is flat. And then you're going to bring this down so that that edge meets, and it creates one straight line. So that's the second way you can do it, by focusing on basically just folding it like it's a dart. So with this one, we're going to fold it the same way. So fold it in half, make the notches meet here, okay, and then fold it back. Okay. Then you have your second pleat. And then I'm going to come over here and do this second one with you also on the other side. So if we just focus on the angles, which I think that just focusing on the angle and folding it is the more simple way. So we're going to fold this up like this. And these angles should be meeting now. Okay. So you got them meeting here. Then you'll fold it back. Then you have your first angle, or your first pleat, and you'll take a pin and stick it in so it'll hold it. And then you'll just fold the other angle like you're doing a dart, and match your notches. And then once you fold it back again, then that'll make the pleat. And you get you another pin. And that's it. And then you just kind of, you know, play with the pleats to make them sit the way you want them to sit. Now, I usually like it to be more of a hump here, and then to kind of pull the pleats down so that it bubbles a little more. And then I'll press here in the beginning. It's just like a little finger press. Okay. And that's it. Then, now looking at the directions, once you do that, you're just going to connect these on the center front, so you should still have the little notch we made a long time ago when we cut the pieces out. And it shows you where the center front is. And then you're just going to overlap them. And the way they have them overlapping, they have the longer, bigger piece overlapping the smaller piece. Okay. So we're going to overlap them like this. And this is the little center front there. There's the other center front. Going to make them touch. And then we're going to sew all the way across. So what I'm going to do is pin one more good time here, but make sure you're making a straight line. And when I say straight, I don't mean like straight. It could be like a curved line, but either way, it just needs to go all the way straight across. It doesn't need to be like this. You see what I'm saying? So even though your center front needs to match, don't just match the center front and not the edges in the front and in the back. Okay. And I'm gonna make a couple more pins. Pin there. I'm gonna pin over here. Okay. Then I'm just going to sew from like right here all the way across until I come out on the other side. Back stitch at the front and at the back. Okay. Okie dokie. So now you should be at this point where you have them both stitched across the front here. And once again, just do this, you know, 1/4 seam allowance edge stitching right across the front here. It doesn't need to be anything spectacular. This is what mine looks like on the other side. But yeah, it just needs to be good enough, or, you know, small enough, the stitch wise, or the seam allowance needs to be small enough to where you aren't gonna see it in the seam. So the seam is actually gonna be up here somewhere maybe. Okay. So now we are really done with the top portion of it. We're going to start on the skirt. The skirt is really simple. I'm going to do my best not to take real long showing you the skirt. I have other tutorials on gathering and all this other stuff. So if you want to go watch that, I have a tutorial on making a gathered skirt and a ruffle, which is really the exact same thing we're doing on the bottom here, from the bodice down. So you can go watch that real quick if you want to figure out how to gather and put it together and everything. And then you can come back here before you actually sew it to see what part I'm at next. Okay? Okay, so what we're looking at right now is the bottom ruffle that I have gathered up. And so it looks all pretty, like a peasant blouse or something, or like whatever. Anyway. And then this is the larger part. This is the skirt piece. And I flipped it inside out so you just see the seam. And this is the side that it's open on, but that really doesn't matter right now because we're not going to even be doing anything with this top edge at the moment. Right now, we're going to take this ruffle piece and we're going to be connecting it to the bottom. Now, I've gathered it all the way up so that I don't have to try to gather it more. Now I just got to focus on maybe taking some of the gathers out a little bit so that way it matches the notches. Now I was looking over here to find out where all of the little markings and things were, And just looking at this, and then also getting the pattern piece. Okay, we can see that we have the middle here. Hopefully you can see this. Let me make sure you can. Alright, we have the fold line here, which is the center front. We have notch number 1. We have the circle notch, we'll call it that. And remember here we snipped it 3 times. And then we have notch number 2 here. So we got 2 notches, and then we have the circle notch, I guess you could call it. Then we have the seam on the side. Now we'll leave this piece here, and then if we go grab the ruffle piece, where is it? There we go. If we grab this ruffle piece, we can see, okay, we have a center front here. Oh, we need to be looking at this top edge. We have a center front here. Then we have the triangle notch. And then we have the circle notch. So really, if you go and put them together, it would be something like this. The circle notch would match here. And then, hopefully you can see the circle notch there. And then, all of this would gather so that the triangle notches could match. Okay. Then I'm assuming we just pass the center front completely, so that we come back around and the rest of this gathers back into the other triangle notch. And then we do the circle again, and then from the circle we go back into the next triangle, and then we just skip over the seams on this one. Okay, now but the seams on the bottom are another circle notch, or are a circle notch. So I know that's really confusing. What you can do to make it less confusing is get 2 different color markers, and I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna come back.